Morning from Poland. There's a look outside the Hala Olivia on the north end of Gdansk in Poland, not far from the North Sea. Inside is qualifying day number 2 on the ISU Short Track World Tour, stop number 3 of 4. The season rapidly winding towards its conclusion, at least the World Tour portion of it, as skaters get ready for this winter's Olympics. Hello everybody, Gavin Day, Catherine Reuter-Adamek alongside me as we begin another long day of qualifying as we get set up for the World Tour weekend. There's a look at the morning schedule. We have the men's 1,000-meter preliminaries, women's 500-meter preliminaries, 1,000-meter heats, and then we'll be continuing on and on into the afternoon. If you were with us yesterday, we wrapped up just after 6 p.m. local time. Should be an earlier conclusion today, although never say never. There is always the chance for delays. It's a lovely day here in Gdansk. It's hovering around the freezing mark, but just a few clouds in the sky, and otherwise not much wind. Very crisp day outside, but of course we are indoors. Hey, Catherine. Good morning. How are you?
Dzień dobry.
Hey, she's picking it up. Coming a local. And it is a big weekend here in Gdansk. Of course, it's short track weekend. It is also the opening of the city's fabled Christmas market. It was voted the best in Europe last year, and so it's a big weekend here, but we're here mostly for the speed skating, but we'll enjoy some of the asides when we're all done here. But Catherine, another long day ahead. Tee us up for it.
Long days are the best days, Gavin. We have a full day of speed skating, still working mostly on our preliminary and early rounds today and tomorrow. So they're long days at the rink. Athletes really having to work hard, several touches on the ice throughout their day, which means lots of warm-ups, lots of cool-downs, lots of visits to the physio and the blade tech. And there's really so much that goes on behind the scenes here that makes it fun.
Does, and yesterday was their first experiences on this ice in competition. Now they've been skating on it over the course of the week. I'm sure lessons learned on the feel. It must skate a bit differently in competition when you're really putting it into the blades more in earnest.
Yes, the biggest thing that I'm noticing, athletes have been sharing all week that the ice conditions here are they're their own beast, and every ice rink has their own specific things that athletes have to be aware of and deal with. But so this ice is difficult to accelerate on, so it takes a lot of energy to get up to speed. That's not so bad. What's difficult about it is any contact, any bump with another skater in the race, it's already hard to build up to speed, and then you're having to manage these conflicts within the race. So typically a fit elite athlete, they could take 5 or 6 bumps in a race, no problem. There's a skill to it. But when you're on ice that's difficult to accelerate on, 1 or 2 bumps becomes those 1 or 2 intervals in the race that fry the legs and you can't come back from it. So we're seeing as much bumping as usual, but a harder time recovering from those bumps in a race, which I believe is indicative of ice conditions.
And you see the skaters getting the jackets off. There's a look at one of the home nation favorites here, Michał Niewinski. He was really enjoying the moment skating at home, waving to the Polish supporters who are out here. Men's 1,000-meter preliminary, similar schedule to yesterday. There are 15 1,000-meter preliminary heats coming up. First skaters on the ice. The top skater from each race, and a maximum of 5 fastest second-place skaters qualify for the heats. That's coming up later on this morning, just after the women's 500-meter preliminaries. There you see the start list. Michał Niewinski, Frederick Pedersen, Liu Chuchang, Ernestus Czech, and Maxim Maximov. And these skaters who have to go through the preliminaries, that's really based on how they skated back in Montreal last month, and so the higher seeded skaters will enter the fray after this round a little bit. But so for this morning, or for at least this round, they're just trying to face those big guns later on.
That's right. And I remember as an athlete, all those pre-race jitters, they really calm down once you feel the cold air of the ice rink hit your face. So especially as the starter gives them the command to go down into position, you're going to see these athletes really start to focus. We see that little lucky charm of Michał Nowinski wiping his skin suit.
1,000 meters, 9 laps, same start line, same finish line. So not quite the urgency off the start, of course, as you'd expect in a 500s, but not quite the slower start of the 1500. It's that middle feel. And it is Pedersen off the line first. Liu Shucheng of the Hong Kong Ice Chillins.
Smart move by Shucheng getting up front, because you're right, it started a little slow there. This is telling me he wants to be in the contention for one of those fastest second place times. There's 5 second place times coming out of 15 heats, or 15 preliminaries, I should say. And then remember, any advancement will bump out fastest times. So it depends on how clean the racing is, on how it all's going to work out.
We did see a lot of clean skating yesterday. That's not to say there weren't the occasional flash points, but with those Olympic quota spots on the line, skaters might not be able to go so cavalier into those passes and risk being penalized. So we saw a bit of a mix yesterday with a lot of clean moments, but then others where there was that time for the skaters to really go for the pass. And it's Nowinski on the front ahead of Liu.
Sorry, I got scared. So we're seeing those soft ice conditions again. What happens is he hit a patch of soft ice, which caused a little speed bobble. That's common. That's happening. That's happened all day yesterday. It'll continue to happen all the way through Sunday.
But a win there for Nowinski.
Does such a good job engaging with the crowd and waving to fans. And we walked on the beach with him earlier this week. The athletes are staying right on the Baltic Sea, and he talked about how important it is for him to share his love of the sport with the fans, and he really hopes that one day in Poland these stadium seats are just packed with fans. And I think we're going to have a really great showing when it comes down to those final rounds and those medal events.
Yeah, I've been checking the last few days, and the ticket sales are certainly happening. I didn't really gather how big this facility is, and now that I sort of look, and yeah, it's going to be fun for the World Tour session. There are still tickets available, so if you are within earshot of us in the Gdansk area and want to get out and see it in person, well, come on out. I think there are plenty of tickets still available for this weekend, but it's looking like it could be a pretty full house and some pretty fun times here once we get to the medal races.
Absolutely, and fun for this athlete right here, and Michał Nowinski, to share his passion, his joy with his countrymen. And he does a good job no matter where they are. He's not just a good sport here at home, he's a good sport everywhere he goes. And I've spent so much time with athletes this weekend just learning, they're a fan of their own sport. They love to share the joy of the sport with others. So here we're seeing the first qualifying second place time, a 1:28.940. We'll have to see 14 more races. We'll have to see how that holds up.
Heat number 2 has Miata Shogo, Robin Bendig, Ivan Donchev, Rio Ong, Lai Tsai, Huan Chen. And yeah, for a guy like Miata being at this stage, he didn't have the best thousands back in Montreal, so he's back here at this stage of the event. But of course, he was on the podium in the 1,000, or in the 1,500, pardon me, in week number 2.
His first World Tour medal. It's the second time we've had some trouble with officials' microphones. Yesterday they weren't turning on, and today they maybe seem to be a little reactive. And you know what the athletes do here? You see them, they're squatting down, they're shaking their legs. You often see like athletes shake, and what they're doing there is trying to loosen their muscles up. Sometimes you even see athletes kind of take their hands and pound on their legs, and they're breaking up any scar tissue, any lactate that they feel is pooling. Shogo right now giving a couple stretches, and dynamic stretching like that actually increases the twitchiness of fast muscle fibers. So that was a good strategic move for him right there.
Go to the start. Ready.
Looks like the ghosts in the system have cleared up, and we are off and away in heat number 2. You're talking about People really sharing their love of the sport. A guy like William Dongenew, too, in Montreal, he had a section of home support, and whenever he was winning, he made sure to stop and almost ham it up a little bit. And so these guys really wanting to grow the sport. This is getting to be a bigger sport in Poland. They've hosted World Cups, they've hosted now World Tours, and so it's fun to see this sport develop. Of course, any time in Olympics every first, people have their eyes open to say, wow, this is great. And the goal now is to sort of channel that into, yeah, they compete in between the Olympics as well.
Absolutely. And something else, well, let me just talk on this race for a second, because Bendig doing a phenomenal job. You hear me say this a lot. There's a difference between leading and pulling. You can pull everyone to a fast lap time, or you can lead the race. You can control it. Robin Bendig clearly saying, I want to lead, I want to be the winner. You want to be the winner, you come and get it. That is controlling the race from the front. Here comes Shogo. So this is why Bendig's being so aggressive, because he wants to be the second place time. He's got to stick on Shogo like glue. It's not going quite like that. Let's see if he can hold off in second.
Miata waiting at the back, stalking, and then pounced and just surged away. It is a real battle for second. Miata has pretty much the whole straightaway, and Bendig looking like he might do enough to hang on, but it's a race between him and Donchev, and in the end Bendig does take it. So Miata timing his jump to perfection to take that heat going away. Bendig with a 1:32.539 his official time. And if you're watching on the screen, when he crossed, it said 1:32.56. But Catherine, they adjust pretty much every time because there's a difference between the blade tip and the transponder, is how I understand it.
Correct, absolutely. So yeah, beautiful pass, 2 arms on the back for Miata right here. So you can see he's really feeling some comfort. Watch Robin Bendig. That's a defensive track pattern. He just used his left skate to keep the Bulgarian on the outside. That's called keeping someone on your hip. Now the Bulgarian has to go wide. He's trying to carry speed, but this is all how the dynamics of racing and manipulating your track patterns work in the offense and the defense aspect of this sport.
Second place for Robin Bendig, that German Wolves program. Heat 2 not quite as fast as Heat 1, and so he will have to see how the rest of that plays out. But a good win for Miata Shogo, 5th on the World Tour last year. And looking like he is now rounding into form. Heat number 3 out on the ice. Clayton DiClemente will be the seeded skater, the man from New Jersey. In heat number 1, Nurtalet Kajgali of the Kazakh Nomads, Liam O'Brien of the Irish Wolfhounds, Tinius Ramble Alma of the Norwegian Vikings, and Sishin of the Hong Kong Ice Chillins. O'Brien skates for Ireland. Born in Australia, I believe, lives in Korea. And so have skates, will travel.
Has skates, will travel. Well, I know he and his brother also do a lot of inline skating, maybe not right now, but previously in their career. And I remember we all remember during COVID, I was coaching at the time and I needed to send an online workout to some athletes, and I sent one of their skating workouts on YouTube, and my hockey players couldn't walk for a week.
Goes without saying, these skaters incredibly fit. Out on the ice, it's like you're doing a wall sit or a squat for an extended period of time on blades, and so yeah, it hurts the legs.
It hurts the legs, yeah. Well, and the way they press their chest down to their thighs really chaps all the lactic into the muscles, so you don't get full blood flow like you would when you're standing straight up. So it's hard on every level.
So when you see near the end of the races, even a 500 meters, Catherine, you can just see there are those races, particularly yesterday, you could tell when they were really labored near the end and just fighting to hang on.
Absolutely. I saw athletes put hands on their thighs yesterday, which is like the ultimate I'm gassed. That is the sign of like nothing's left. My hands are pushing my feet. And that is the type of exhaustion they're dealing with this week. Clayton DiClemente going out, leading a nice strong pace from the beginning, 2 arms on his back, carrying his speed. So we've talked about easy speed, how important it is to find a percentage of output where you can maintain the speed without making yourself tired. He's nailing it right now, being very consistent in his lap times, controlling the race from the front.
Is there a short track stages of exhaustion?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and by your 5, you're banging on your thighs.
Well, and then 6, you can literally start tasting your lactate in your mouth. It tastes like rust. You know you're working hard when you can taste your workout in your own spit. Like, it's pretty wild.
Short track.
Yeah,
Taste the workout.
come on down, folks. It's fun. It really is, though, and especially those workouts. Clayton's doing it right now, you know, doing things that are hard and succeeding at it, and the pride that comes from doing hard things and knowing you can push yourself. It's a great aspect, great mental aspect of the sport.
And he will go pillar to post, 127.68. Just a professional win by Clayton DiClemente, taking control of that one and never relinquishing it. Kajgalia, 127.769 official time. That's actually the fastest heat we've seen so far. And for those two guys at the front, they really did not look like they got out of second gear.
No, and that's the benefit of finding what's called that easy speed, and there's no lap time that determines easy speed. It's a percentage. It's, hey, coach, I'm going to go out, I'm going to lead about 80%. If I feel someone giving me pressure, I'll push it up to 85, but I'm not going to touch 90 until 1 or 2 to go. That's good strategy, and every ice rink is different. You can't rely on lap times to tell you how to race. You have to know your feeling. Clayton DiClemente keeping that right shoulder pressing down to his thigh around the turn, that's a sign of good, efficient, powerful technique.
There's the race for third. Sweet, O'Brien, and Alma. But it's that man moving in to the 1,000-meter heats. We'll see him. It's a quick recovery. It's just about an hour and a half until they're back out on the ice for the heats, and so now important work also begins for them.
Yeah, right. So they're heading right to the bike right now. They're going to spin their legs, flush that lactic acid out. They're probably going to have a snack, something high sugar that breaks down quickly. Protein and carbs are important on race day to help your muscles recover, but obviously carbohydrates are going to break down the fastest. So everyone's relying on really simple carbohydrates. It's funny, on training days, you go for those like heavier, more fiber-rich foods because those are healthy things, but on race days, you want this sweet, sugary stuff to fuel yourself with.
Take up short track and you get to have all the sugar that you want on race day. Not exactly, but
Kinda.
a little bit. The simple sugars, and you don't want complex carbohydrates. Anyway, heat number 4. Thomas Natalini, Sean McAnuff, Andrew Hio, Martin Prantel, and Munk Erdan-Bileg.
Ready.
Interesting heat here to have a couple of pretty top skaters. Natalini, Hio, we're so often to seeing at the World Tour portion of the competition, the weekend afternoon sessions, but both of them coming in not quite as highly ranked in the 1,000 meters, so interesting race in the offing.
And that's a sign of it being Olympic year. You know, the field it does tend to get deeper on Olympic year. More countries have bigger budgets, can send more skaters, and everyone's peaking for this. Really smooth move up into the front by Andrew Hio. He got a little bit of a lucky open door there. Now Natalini doing some of the interesting things with his track patterns. He's keeping his speed going into the corner, but then making sure to defend against McAnuff on the exits. So you can see it here. He's defending, he's stepping out. He goes tight to defend and steps out to keep speed. Excellent tactic.
And he is keeping McAnuff at bay. McAnuff, one of the skaters based out of that Budapest training group. The likes of Hungary, Belgium are there. McAnuff himself out of Oakville, Ontario. Another one of those nice guys on the tour. Always happy to see us and say hello.
Andrew Hio picking the speed up now. McAnuff's on the heel, so he might be it's spacing out, but he might be able to get a pass in. Let's see.
Almost had it on the inside. Natalini there got the door, closed on him, and now it's the front two. Hio and Natalini taking it, going away. It's a dash to the finish. Hio takes it by a couple hundredths of a second. Natalini skating about a 1:30, and so it's not one of the quicker ones out of 4 heats. It's probably the 3rd quickest one, and so Natalini may see himself sitting on the bubble in the 1,000-meter preliminaries, but just a sign of the growing depth of this sport.
And so you see right there where Hio came up, it is part of Natalini's strategy. He's stepping out, going into the corner. Like I said, that is smart for efficiency, but it leaves the door open. Hio takes perfect advantage of that. And then Hio does a really nice job maintaining the control from the front of the race. Now Natalini's stepping out on the exit and the entry. He's trying to build speed. That's a deep track, okay? That was how Andrew Hio shut that speed down and blocked the pass. It doesn't look like much maybe on your screen, but at these speeds, even just a degree or two of changing your direction or holding your line when maybe it's time to change direction, that's enough to throw a passing skater off.
As an aside, I do like those Italian flag blades that Natalini was deploying there. Nice little touch. But there you have the time, 1:35.79 for Natalini, and so he is really on the bubble as a second place. We've had clean skates so far, but there are still a lot of heats still to come, and there's heat number 5. Furkan Akar, Ward Petre, Linards Lyzans, Tibor Komorishki, and Lin Chun-che. Anatolian Park, Ice Bears, Golden Star, Gold Horns, and Blue Magpie.
Ready.
Blue Magpie, something of a sacred bird in Chinese Taipei. The long-tailed mountain lady, they call it. It's endemic to the island, so it only lives there. And then the gold horns of Komorishki. This is my chance to throw out the random facts. The gold horns is a legendary white buck of Slovene folklore, as Lin Chun-che goes out on that corner, down to 4 really now.
I gotta be honest with you, Gavin. I think these team kits, how incredible that you get to even learn about every team's culture.
Well, a lot of them too, they're sort of drawing a spotlight to endangered species. Like the Mongolian saiga is what is it? It's an animal that's seen its population decline. It was due to, from what I understood, a virus that spread from cattle, and it knocked out a bunch of the population. But there's the good story there that it's bouncing back. And so, we look at an Anatolian par, and it's one of the big cats that's really, again, in limited numbers. So it's our chance to learn about these countries more than anything too. And I personally love that stuff as a car pulls away from Petre, first and second in this heat. But yeah, with the new, as Komorishki goes down, with the new kits, the new teams coming in, adding to the ones that we had from last year, I get to dive into the research a little bit and hopefully share them. That's why we have all these different countries, is to learn about each other, and it's the nice aside of sports as well.
Absolutely. Let's take a quick peek here, but I'll definitely want to speak more on that. Just the unity of sports, the way it draws us all together, way more than it divides us apart. These skaters dividing apart here, 3 wide coming down the straightaway. A nice finish on that move by Furkan Akar up to the front. Using his arm swing here to keep that foot speed going. So again, when ice is soft, you can't glide. We are seeing a bit of a collision there. I don't know if it's being reviewed. It is. We're seeing a possible penalty from Latvia onto Slovenia, and that was potentially that outside to in that caused contact.
I don't think it would have merited an advancement, but that is what's being looked at. And revisiting our anthropological educational experience. That's why we get to come to these different places. It's not just an arena and we don't know what's going on outside. We're loving getting out and enjoying the people and the food. I've been biking out here every day. There's a solid little city bike share here, and just enjoying the different places that this sport has taken the athletes and now us.
Absolutely. I'll tell you from my experience at the Olympics, you spend so much time feeling like this us against them thing, which is the competitive nature of sports. But then you get into an environment like this, an international environment, and you realize there's way more camaraderie in sports than competition. Even after falls, even after penalties, athletes are patting each other in the back, high fives, handshakes.
Final decision, penalty, skater 115 from Latvia.
So that's Lyzans penalized for lane change outside to in. I mean, you see the camaraderie. There's no point being bitter with an athlete out there because ultimately you're in such close quarters, and if you're seeing red and if you're hot, then that could lead to danger out there. But these people, they get along, there's respect, and because safety is so paramount in this sport as well.
Yes, and everybody, let me not overgeneralize. Typically, you understand. Like we talked, this came up a lot yesterday. No one is purposefully making mistakes. Everyone is on the edge of what they're capable of, and sometimes if you overdo it, you lose control. We all understand. As athletes, we all get it. That's why we're here, and that's why they respect each other so much, because there's this willingness to go right onto the edge and hold it.
Key number 6.
Ready.
Watanabe, Keita, Adil Galiakhmatov, Yaroslav Morozov, Peter Grossklos, and Alejandro Rivero Mershak. And a lot of these athletes, too, they train together. I mean, if you go to Bormio in the off-season in Italy, there's almost a revolving door of French skaters and Australian skaters and Dutch skaters and Chinese skaters, and they train together as well, and kind of to push each other to new heights.
Yes, you're only as strong as your teammates. I mean, it's common. Even the best skater on the team has bad days, and someone who doesn't win every day says, "All right, I'll take your lead." And it's that kind of camaraderie. It's not like, "Wow, yeah, go on, wear yourself out." It's like, "Hey, man, let me help." It's like I said, so much more that brings us together than divides us apart.
And it's Adil Galiakhmatov, a guy who's won international medals individually. He's been around, and it's Watanabe going down. Was there contact? It is going to be reviewed. Unfortunate for him. Watanabe, the veteran of the sport.
Now Grossklos has a lot of work to do to close that gap. Galiakhmatov keeping a great pace here.
Philippine Tamara, the American-born, Peter Grossklos, but it's Galiakhmatov and Rivero leading this one around. It will be Galiakhmatov moving through the Nomad, the 135.1 unofficially. Let's see how they adjust Rivero's time. 135.7. 135.58 updated time, and so that's a little bit quicker than Thomas Natalini, and so the more heats going on, that one becomes that much more precarious.
Blades. Something with blades, looks like in that replay. Looks like Taipei was just skating maybe a little close, lost their balance a little bit, and then one skater's left clicks with another skater's right. And here was what's impressive. We can't quite get on your screen. He tries to save it. He tries to hop right back up.
Watanabe, and he was in a second position, and that could lead to an advancement. We've seen advancements out of those timed, potentially, positions.
It is not a fun situation when you fell down due to something out of your control and you just have to wait. Sometimes it can be slightly relieving in that, what could I have done? It's not like I made a mistake, but also to have that moment where my results are not out of my control. That's not a fun place to be as an athlete.
All the more reason to get into those top spots, and then if you are a victim of something beyond your control, then you could see yourself advanced. And there is Watanabe, one of the few guys over the age of 30. The 1990s athletes are starting to disappear a little bit more.
Penalty, skater number 138 from Philippines, and we have an advancement for 58 Japan.
And there you go. Watanabe does get advanced. Grossklos, again, just talking about not meaning really to deliberately go after someone. It's just to collect the skates, and incidents happen, and that is a penalty, though.
Yep, that's... Well, I'm saying it too often, but it's short track, and I know a lot of fans have told me over the years, like, how can you stand it? How can you stand so much uncertainty? But when you do this every day, sometimes it goes your way and sometimes it doesn't. It's not as much of an outrage when you understand the highs and lows and the constant fluctuation of the sport.
The law of average evens it out in the end. Heat number 7, Martin Kolins, Nico Anderman, Lucas McDonald, Rafael Moret, and Luka Jasic.
Ready.
So skaters now knowing what they need to do if they want to get one of those fastest second times. There's only 4 fastest second times now that we've had an advancement. And it looks like something around a 130.579. That's the threshold that the second place skater needs to skate under if they want to be considered for the next round.
But of course, goes without saying, I'll say it anyway though, if there are further advancements, that gets tossed out as we go. But it's Kolens on the front, the Dalmatian ahead of Anderman.
Yeah, and you see some nice tactics here from Kolens. He's looking down beneath his feet. So that's difficult to balance as you're exiting your corner and going into the straightaway to take your eyes off of where you're going and look down instead. That's an advanced move, tactically, but also technically. And we've had a fall.
It's Anderman going out, and that will be reviewed. It looked like he was in the area of Lucas McDonald, who's now trying to make the move. Luka Jasic defensively keeping him away, though, while he tries to move forward, and Jasic up the inside. He's not going to do it, and Kolens is down.
That was a very aggressive move. We're definitely seeing those dots for a reason. That's going to be reviewed.
And so Lucas McDonald, his first, I think he was in that first incident, that has been cleared, and so now he's in position to win this heat and move on through into the heats. And so Lucas McDonald gets through ahead of Raphael Murray, who, that's one of his better races, keeping it tight in there. And so Murray up for second, 134.77. I don't think the time will be good enough, but good race for him. And so then we will look at that incident between Kolens and Jasic. And Kolens was at the front, and so if there is a penalty, it's another possible advancement situation.
So let's take a look here. McDonald up the inside. Anderman, it seems to go by himself, which again, we saw that yellow dot turn to green. That's an ice situation. His left breaks out, then his right breaks out. McDonald is there, but he doesn't cause that. And then we're seeing up the inside here. This is an aggressive move. The shoulders do not. We'll have to get another angle to see when the shoulders get even, but if they're not even in a reasonable time, then it can be considered a late pass going into the corner. Kolens doing the best he can, but we're seeing a lot this weekend, that spinning like the top kind of fall. It's what happens when your shoulders get too far on the inside of your hip, and then your hips, your center of gravity, they get pulled out of the corner with centrifugal force, and the result is a fall.
That's physics winning again.
That's every time, man. She wins every time.
One day physics.
I don't know. William Donjanu might beat her.
I think still undefeated so far, though.
That's right.
At least from what we've seen. Jasic got advanced out of one of the repêchages yesterday. He will skate, I think it's the 500 meters, I believe. It could also be, it's either the 5 or the 15, but he'll get a repêchage quarterfinal tomorrow. Good chance for him to, we were looking at those quota spots. Sorry, down to the ice.
Final decision, penalty, number 136 from Serbia, and we have an advancement for skater 35 from Croatia.
There you go. And so Kolens is advanced. Jasic is penalized. I was just talking about that. Getting into the top 32 spots, or 36 in the case of the 1500. But I'll let Catherine break this down.
Yep. So failure of inside skater to give way, which I agree with. His shoulders are not even going into the corner. He decides to be aggressive, which you do have to do here at Olympic qualifiers. I understand why that effort is there. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it causes some contact. And I am happy to see Kolens getting advanced, because truly great strategic skating from him. Really nice technique, nice long pushes, good track pattern. So I'm happy we get to see him perform again in the next round.
Heat number 8, Tobias Wolf, Lucas Koo, Ben Jung, Sujun Peng, and Simon Bastier. Just talking about that, we were sort of doing the math, and if you're into a repêchage semifinal, you're sort of in that top 32, top 36, and so going for the quota spots, however they calculate the math, you're giving yourself a decent shot. And if you're one of those smaller teams, where if you're one of 1 or 2 skaters, getting into that repêchage semifinal is a big boost, and we saw that yesterday with Kim, the skater from Australia, getting into a repêchage semi-final in the 1,000 meters for women. And so those final berths big for the smaller programs if they can snatch up those Olympic spots. But that's all calculated after next weekend in Dordrecht.
And remember, their worst result gets thrown out. So out of 4 competitions, you get to take your 3 best finishes. So what that means too is it's not entirely up to each athlete. It also is dependent on who makes mistakes. And, you know, Miyata Shogo has shown us that sometimes consistency is key. And even if you're not all the way up, it's helpful to be in the middle as opposed to all the way down.
Go to the start. Ready.
And it is Ku, the American-born Brazilian Bluebird.
Lucas Ku training in the United States with a former teammate of mine, Kyle Carr. Relax from the front here. You can see how he's got his shoulders really rounding forward over his knees. What happens when a skater gets nervous is that their shoulders get tight, their chest starts to lift up, which is it's bad for efficiency and it's also bad for power. It's bad all around. Lucas Ku's doing great. Nice relaxed shoulders. Ben Jung right behind him, also keeping a nice loose upper body as the speed starts to pick up.
We do like to talk about the families in the sport. Of course, Ben Jung has his sister Myung-bi with them, the Korean-born skaters. Dad working for an engineering firm that moved his job to Germany, and so the family went, and here they are continuing the skating now with that Wolves program. It's been a few years skating internationally.
Lucas Ku controlling the pace of this race well. He's doing what's called a progressive lead. Every lap's a little faster. It's tricky because when you're following it, you think, oh, this isn't so hard. I could pass any time. And then all of a sudden, we're going in the low 9s, and it's really hard to make a move.
And Wolf and Sue come together a few times. Eventually, they both go out. That will be reviewed. And Bastier, opportunistic, jumping up to second, but a good win for Ku.
Yeah, a big move by Bastier there at the end. We'll have to see the replay. I didn't even see him setting that up. It seemed like he just was at the perfect place at the perfect time. We are seeing an official time there of a 1:31.284. That is not a fastest third or a fastest second at this time.
Speaking of learning a bit about each team, I'll let you dissect the race first.
Yeah, so there's some weird things going on in the track pattern there, and so we're seeing the Austrian skater hugging tight to the blocks. He kicks a block, but also he's getting pressure from the outside coming in from the Taipei skater, and there are things you can do in that instance. You can put 2 feet down and get in a small little ball and try like heck to hold it. Now there's Bastier's move up the inside, and again, I don't know that Ben Jung even saw that coming, because that's a relatively easy move to defend against, but sometimes when you get those sneaky slingshot type passes, by the time the defending athlete realizes the passing athlete is planning or trying something, it's already too late.
So Tobias Wolf being investigated or reviewed for possible corner arm push on Su Junpeng, the skater from Chinese Taipei, and we have a decision.
Final decision, penalty number 54 from Austria.
There you go, and it is Wolf penalized for an arm push. We'll get another look at it right here.
Okay, so right here. Okay, right here. So it looks, the 2 skaters are just going in. You might not be able to see it from your angle, but Austria did enter the corner tighter than usual. That is a defensive move, but when you enter tight, it's very difficult to turn. So when it was time to turn, the pressure on his legs seemed to be a little too much. There was the contact from Junpeng, and then from there, arms are tangled. The rest is history.
And there is Ku talking about learning a bit about each team and who they represent there. The bluebird that Brazil refers to is the Spix's macaw, if I believe. If you've ever seen the movie Rio, it's that bird, and so it's a bird that actually went extinct in the wild, but thanks to some recovery efforts, they have started releasing them again into the wild. And so some good news with that one. But yes, I always sort of say it's the Rio bird, if you've seen that movie.
Well, now I'll have to go back and watch it a little closer.
Heat number 9, a look at Gleb Ivchenko. He is the top-seeded skater in this heat at number 37. Then there's Ivan Martinic, Jakub Karabin of the Slovakian Ice Deer. I'll just go through the whole thing. There's Ivchenko, Peter Jasopati, Ivan Martinic, Rostislav Leontenko, and Jakub Karabin. This Kazakh side, they have a lot of guys with plenty of experience. Karabin.
Go to the start.
Pardon me, this is Ivchenko, my mistake. Yet Karabin is in the race, but he's on Slovakia. Getting a little cross-eyed here. Either way, let's go. But yeah, Ivchenko, one of the younger ones, 24 years old. A number of his teammates born in the 90s, but he was a 1990, or pardon me, a 2001 baby was Gleb Ivchenko, but it's Peter Jasopati on the front.
Taking it out strong. 7 to go. We're already down in the 9s. So we've talked about the different strategies. There's a progressive strategy where every lap gets faster. There's also a tempo strategy where you try to maintain the same pace. Take your pick, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. They're both challenging on the legs and the lungs. It really comes down to each athlete's comfort level and what they're confident in.
Yeah, Jasopati stretching this one out. A couple guys getting shed at the back. Martinic and Karabin struggling to maintain contact. It's the front 3 right now. But it's Ivchenko getting up the inside for the lead.
And that's good timing in the race for Ivchenko to go up. Jasopati does have time to make a counterattack, but will he have the legs?
And he has a chance to get into that slipstream perhaps a little bit, but he doesn't have a lot of time left. There is the bell. Ivchenko trying to defend. Jasopati closing up, but it will be Gleb Ivchenko taking the heat. A 1:27.96 for Peter Jasopati. And so that's a quicker one with a lot of races in the 1:30 range.
Yes, so that's going to be one of our new top fastest times. And it looks like the result from race number 6 is getting bumped out based on that time. So that would be
Alejandro Rivero, the Belgian Ice Bear.
Okay, so some replays here. Now, look at Jasopati. Even as he's getting past, what he does well is he keeps his right shoulder down going into the corner. And even in front here, Ivchenko, you can see as he comes around, that right shoulder lifts up a little bit. Obviously, he's still skating well enough, fast enough to win the race. It's just these little points of efficiency that as we go through the rounds, the more efficient athletes are naturally conserving more energy throughout. But oftentimes in the sport, it's a combination of both efficiency and strength, and we see athletes falling along a wide spectrum of who's. What I'm trying to say is that both ways are effective, and every athlete has to find their way that works for them.
And so Jasopati will watch and wait, but his time has a few behind him, and so even though he didn't win the heat, he could benefit from that quick start that he made. And into heat number 10, Oleg Hyundai, right there. Lin Xiaojun of the Chinese Lungs, Peter Murphy, the Luxembourg Dukes, Stefan Alexander Kumurjev, Bulgarian Kings, and you just got to look there in orange of Mela Van Tvout. And so lots to watch for in this.
Ready.
So Van Tvout made his World Tour debut in Montreal, and he made some semifinals and had some good racing. He's in the 1,000 here without a world ranking. Of course, he just hasn't done it, but the Dutch side adapting with Dan Koss, not here competing. But you look at, even though Oleg Hyundai is the seeded skater at number 38 in the world, he has Lin Xiaojun behind him and Van Tvout in front of him, and interesting for a preliminary.
Yes, this is a challenging first round here, especially when, even with time, only 2 are going on, and there's 3 that really, based on ranking, probably feel like they should be in the top 2. So the pace is quite quick. Melle van Twout keeping a good pace under 10-second laps. Gavin, you pointed out yesterday how he kind of shakes his wrists.
That was his brother.
Oh,
but I think he does it too.
Yeah. A lot of skaters do. It's common. It helps you relax your shoulders. When you're feeling tense, it keeps you loose. There is a move up to the front by Lin Jaoun.
And he went around Van Twout, and Hyundai tried to follow, but the door was closed on him, and Hyundai went down, and so we will get another look at that. But Lin Xiaojun did make the pass into the lead ahead of Van Twout.
Doing a quick shoulder check there, keeping an eye on his competition, and that helps him gauge how much energy do I need to continue to put out in order to seal the deal on this race.
So it is Lin winning, timing his move right, but then it is looking at Van Twout perhaps on Hyundai. But we'll see how the replay goes. Of course, sometimes when they see another replay, they go, okay, possibly it is the other skater, and then other times where both skaters are getting looked at, that often ends with the shared responsibility. But we'll start to get some looks now.
So Lin coming up the inside quite easily. Hyundai trying, but you're right, Mel closes the door outside to in. Now, sometimes it's a matter of where those shoulders are, but sometimes it's a matter of really whose job is it to give way here, and we might even be seeing an arm block.
That is what they're looking at, possibly. And one thing what I learned before is that sometimes if you're watching guys on a straightaway, if they go, yeah, I'll just let you jump in there.
that was it right there. And so what he's doing is he can sense a skater is about to make a move, and so he's trying to extend his pivot out longer to make himself bigger, harder to pass. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And in that instance, that was a stretch. Maybe there was a little bit of losing balance there, which made it appear maybe a little bigger or worse than it was. But again, the officials don't care if you meant to. They care if your behavior impacted the outcome of the race.
And one thing that I have learned with Tyler Dara, the other analyst who I work with, sometimes you can watch a skater go left, right, left, but then if they sort of look like they do a double one-way direction, that might also indicate that what's being looked at. And I don't know if Van Twout might have looked like he was doubling one way, but...
So sometimes it also depends on where the skates are. So let's watch Van Twout's right skate. He's crossing over here, and then he does a double push. Yep, that's what you're seeing. Sometimes that's a way to carry speed without lifting your feet. Sometimes it's a way to change the direction of your track. But either way, yes, that is consistent with Tyler's analysis.
I get to work with 2 very, very expert people who I learned so much.
Well, it's fun for us too. Waiting.
Harold Silovs, former Latvian double sports star. Can always bring him up whenever he's on camera because he's one of very few people to do 2 different Olympic sports in a single day. 2010 going from the Oval in Richmond and Vancouver to the Pacific Coliseum, or it was the other way around, but either way, he did both sports.
And he was the first athlete, the first speed skater to do both short and long in an Olympics. It happens somewhat, I wouldn't say often, but it's happened a few times since he did it, but he was really the first one that showed it was possible. I remember seeing him at the bus stop in 2010 and being like, yo, you're going on the wrong bus. And he's, no, it's a long track day. So it was really inspiring to see him do something groundbreaking like that.
Final decision, penalty number 1-1 from Netherlands, and we have an advancement for skater 5-1 from Ukraine.
So Van Twout is penalized, Hyundai is advanced, and that means 1 fewer second place time. But here is the look here.
Lane, they went with lane change. They did not call the arm block. So again, that double push on the right, sometimes it's used for speed, but in that instance it was used for track pattern, and they determined that was an outside to in. A little support from brother Jens there, coming to check in on his little bro.
And you're talking about the 2 sport athletes. That's what Ariana Fontana will be trying to do. Wait, is today Friday? Today's Friday. They start in Calgary this weekend.
She is in Calgary right now.
If you are a fan of skating, this is your weekend. You have us, and then you have the long trackers over in Calgary at the Olympic Oval. You don't need to go anywhere.
3 long track world records falling last week at the Salt Lake City World Cup, and so they're all back for more in North America.
Calgary still hanging on to that men's 10K record that they got, Davide Giotto got last season, and in the real battle for the world's fastest ice, if we can digress into long track for a bit, it's really Salt Lake for the moment. Calgary still calls it that, but you know, the data doesn't lie for the moment. Heat number 11, Toon Boer, Peter Riches, Dennis Orrs, Nathan Thomas, and Zdenek Sapal. Lion, Royal, Anatolian Par, Hussar, and Ice Spider.
So this is a quick pace. We're coming down with 5 to go. We're in oh no.
And it's Riches down. That'll get looked at, but I'm not sure if it was on his own. And yeah, there's no dot that comes up.
So I am surprised coming on 3 to go. I don't see anyone with their arms down yet, so they may be satisfied with the pace that Toon Boer is leading, but I would like to see a little move here by Orrs, whether he drops his arm or starts to change his track pattern. There we see him stepping out, a sign of building some speed. Stepping out again. Let's see if he has enough speed to set up a pass.
1 to go. Orrs running out of space, running out of time. Remember, there aren't many second place opportunities left, but Toon Boer will take this one wire to wire ahead of Orrs and Thomas, all in the 127s. So despite it being a fast heat, unfortunately some of those skaters, their times had they been in other heats would have been quick enough, but a guy like Nathan Thomas, a 127, but still finishing in 3rd.
All right, so taking a peek here at the replay, that's Nathan Thomas trying to make a move up the inside. Gives way. Remember, sometimes we've seen that call, failure to give way, and then there's the fall by Riches. It doesn't seem to be caused by anything. That right skate goes way back. Remember how we keep talking about soft spots? Now, if you have a pair of roller skates that you can go outdoors in, whenever you roll over what's called a tar snake in the asphalt, okay, you notice how your wheels stop rolling, but your body keeps going. That's what's happening here with their blades on the ice. They hit that soft spot. The foot slows down, but the body keeps going forward, totally throws off your balance. There's nothing you can do. And so in that instance, we just have to chalk it up to bad ice.
The world goes into slow motion. There's just nothing you can do. I can imagine just like there's just this, oh no, drawn out. But
yes.
Unfortunate for Riches. But of course, yeah, these surfaces, different all over the world. You're never going to get absolute perfection everywhere. It's just the nature of the beast with conditions that we have, and such is life. Unfortunate for him. But now we go into heat number 12. Wonjun Moon, Lucas Wareham, Jonas Hammermuller, Dennis Aida-Petyan, and Adam Amar Asvar Aslan. That's a lot of A's. AAAA are his initials. The first skater on World Tour for Malaysia.
Really?
Yeah, we didn't see him at all last year, I don't think. I do not think we've gotten Malaysia before.
I feel fairly certain, you can correct me if you know, I think the Malaysian team actually trains in Korea. There's a little co-op of skaters that trains there with a fairly well-known coach, and he manages this co-op of skaters. It helps many people all at once.
Ready.
Of course, Malaysia neighbors with Singapore, and Nicole Garrido, the former Canadian long tracker, coaching that Singapore program. A lot of it's preparation for the Southeast Asian Games, and of course, I imagine it's the same for a team like Malaysia.
And it's pretty common, you know, we see it with the Belgian Ice Bears, we see it with the Racing Roos, we see it with the Irish Wolfhounds. These smaller nations, it is beneficial to either co-op a bunch of small nations together, or for just a few skaters from a small nation to join a bigger team. That's pretty typical in the sport.
Aida-Petyan, one of 2 Uzbek Cobras on the front right now. And Wonjun Moon, a skater who we've been seeing a lot of. In Montreal had some good races, and he's been showing flashes here as well.
And one thing that Moon is doing really well, let's see if we can get another straightaway shot. I'm trying to point this out a lot because it's a sign of a good skater when that right shoulder stays down. It's normal when you lean to the left that your right shoulder would lift up, but here we go back to physics. The more you can drive your right shoulder down through your right side core muscles and your right side hip, that's great for efficiency, power, and track patterns.
And he now is going away. Wareham does get up into second, but the damage has been done. Won Jun Moon just easing up, getting a chance to stand up a little bit to cross the line. Wareham goes a 130.3.
And that was the first time I think I've seen a skater nod their head at their coach rather than shake their head. So Won Jun Moon feeling good about that.
We saw it yesterday. Skaters even winning their heats, they would shake or not look too happy. But, you know, a win's a win.
A win.
And Won Jun Moon agreeing with me there.
Absolutely. It doesn't have to look good. It just has to work. So checking out this replay here, Moon does a great job keeping control of the race. We're seeing a move up the inside by Lucas Wareham. Hard to tell if there was ultimately any contact there.
Getting reviewed. I believe it was Canadian rower Marnie McBean who once said, on a good day I'll win. I want it to be that on a bad day I'll win too.
Absolutely. I had the same teammate, his name was Travis Janer, who told me, experience is what you get when you don't get what you want. He also told me that he trains for bad days because it's way more likely that that's how you're going to feel when it counts. And so really the goal is to be able to be your best even if you don't feel good.
There you go. Conversely, I believe it was Homer Simpson who said trying is the first step towards failure. But that doesn't apply to these skaters.
Way to go opposite on that one, Gavin. Very good.
Heat number 13, we're now into 4 skaters. There is Hayashi Kosei, Benson Ogradi, Radek Fajkus, and Chan Lachart Taprom.
Go to the start. Ready.
Hayashi really in his element in the 1500, but he is the seeded skater in this race. But he and Ogradi only separated by a couple spots, 41st and 47th respectively. This could be an interesting duel. Of course, the back two would love to turn a few heads as well. Fajkus, you talk about the inline skater backgrounds, those Czech skaters pretty much exclusively coming from inline.
It is it's a somewhat popular feeder system for the sport. I was just chatting with Joey Mantilla earlier today, that's the Belgium team coach, and he was a historic inliner before he came over to long track. So let's take a look here at Hayashi. Something he's so well known for, when he lands his left skate, his knee angle actually dips below parallel. That's extremely unique in the sport, and you can't imagine the type of strength that takes. So if you like to go to the gym and you do an exercise called pistol squats, he's doing a pistol squat on an edge, on ice, 30 miles an hour, and looking good doing it.
He's just this little powerhouse. Like in a sport of a lot of shorter skaters, he is one of the shorter ones, but you just notice the strength on this guy.
It's that low center of gravity that allows him to put so much pressure into the ice.
And so it is he and Ogradi in the end, and it will be Hayashi coming away with the victory. The man from Nagoya, 22 years of age. His mother competed in 1998 in Nagano. His brother, a bronze medal relay skater at the 2020 Worlds. And so again, coming back to that whole family connection, Hayashi Kosei, he's doing the family business proud in this 1,000-meter preliminary.
So nice replay here. Ogradi not really needing to challenge Hayashi up at the front here. Still stepping out, trying to carry speed. That's good smart strategy. Kosei keeping his eyes straight down the straightaway, focusing more on speed rather than defense.
And he'll take it. The time for Ogradi, a 128.249, not enough to move him on. As we have had a few advancements, and so just a few limited second to place spots. And when there are 15 heats, you're really almost at the mercy of how fast whoever it is who decides to take up the pace. And I imagine after a few laps, if you're already behind, we always like to say it's either to bank the time than to be chasing, and as you're chasing time, the more fatigued you are.
Absolutely. I think on this ice too, that becomes even more obvious that athletes, if you only have one big move in your legs, you gotta save it.
Go to the
And
start.
you don't see that on faster ice. You can have 3 or 4 big moves, and it's really changing the
Ready.
strategy this weekend.
Lu Jianchuo, Theo Collins, Daniel Eibog, and Erik Anderson. And not a terribly swift opening, and so it looks like, from the early returns anyway, that second place is fading off into the sunset, and so it looks like these guys are just skating for the win.
And that can have several reasons to it. It can have to do with ice conditions, if the ice is getting slower. Remember, with 15 races and there's 7 tracks, so tracks are getting reused. That means the ice is full of ruts. And you can see this a little bit in the track patterns here. Everyone's entering on a different line, and what that means is that the ice is bad. Everyone is searching for fresh ice, and what you have to go on basically unskated ice, so that when you hit ruts, you want to hit them at an angle. You don't want to get stuck in them, or they'll carry your feet for you, which, you know, if you're the one trying to win the race, it's not what you want.
We have our first resurfacing break after the next race. It's 15,000 meters, so at this stage of the game, it's getting a little tired as Lu Jianchuo hits the front. Theo Collins, the 22-year-old now, originally from Guildford, but now based out of Nottingham, where the British program trains, now having to chase, and we'll see how Lu can defend.
And Lu hits the front like he means it. He goes immediately into a progressive. We have 2 laps to go, so still time for Collins to respond, but Eibog coming up the middle.
Third to first in a moment, but it's Lu and Collins who bump. And Eibog will say thank you very much, but his move sort of started that chain, but he skirted through. And I'm not sure if Lu and Collins were surprised to see him there, but that sort of set the ball in motion, and we'll get a look at that, what might have happened. But Eibog timed it right.
He did, and it was smart skating by Eibog, because this does happen when, especially if you're leading, if you get too focused on defending a pass on the outside, you leave the door wide open on the inside. There's almost nothing you can do about that. So here we see a really nice pass by Lu coming up into the front. No contact, no concerns there. That was clean, but a little bit of blade contact. And again, Eibog just slipping up the inside. No contest.
So yeah, he went through, and then whatever happened between Lu and Collins. As Collins was trying to move,
So
Eibog was then skirting through, and then we'll see what happened.
So Collins on the outside there trying to get speed. We didn't see the move that he made, but here's Eibog coming around to the finish line, skating on 2 different boots. Anderson reaching for the line just in case he can get that fastest third, which it's not, but it's still good effort. Here's the review.
Final decision, penalty, number 55 from Hong Kong, China. Advancement for number 56, Great Britain.
And so Collins does get advanced in the end. Lu penalized. We will get a look right here. I would imagine lane change inside to out, and so Catherine, guide us through right there.
Yeah, that's a pretty big step out. You can make that move if you don't cause contact, or if the other skater isn't negatively affected by it. But in this instance, that is a clear and obvious penalty. Remember, that's what you need in a penalty. It needs to be clear and obvious. And with that advancement, that actually, now we're just down to 1 fastest third time. That eliminates all the other fastest third times except for, I think, from heat 11.
Dennis Orrs. So one time you want to watch for is 1:27.377, and we will see if they go for it. I would imagine we would be able to tell within the first couple of strides.
Ready.
Etienne Bastier, Metehan Atan, Tariq Omaragic, and Purapat Chiangmai, and not a ton of urgency.
No, and to hit that lap time, those lap times that are needed this late on these ice conditions, you'd almost need, teamwork's not the right word, but what happens if sometimes skaters will agree, like, let's go, let's get that time. I don't care who wins. Let's bust it out there, right? And that's not happening now.
But of course, Denisaur still can't quite celebrate just yet, because when it really starts to pick up, there is always that added danger of moves and penalties. So he's not in the clear just yet as Purtapat Chiangmai of the Thai Elephants hits the front.
So you hear that? You see that little handshake?
I do see
again,
that, yeah.
Chiangmai. Again, it's common. It's what skaters do to keep their upper bodies loose. You can imagine, regardless of technique, everyone's a little nervous, so it's natural to start to, kind of clench your teeth and shrug your shoulders, and you can't be tight out there.
And there you go, as Atan tries to go in on Bastier. He goes down. He was sort of shrugging like, what just happened there? But there's no yellow dot just yet, but of course it will be looked at. That's what the room is there for, as Bastier hits the front. Now the review dot comes up, and it is Bastier Omeragic.
And worth noting that, they're still going a bit for time here at the end, and that does impact their lane position in the next round.
And it is Etienne Bastier, the Rooster, taking that one, but I believe it was him and Atan who came together. And so we, of course, will get the reviews and get the different looks, but we do get to head into our first break.
So we see the Turkish Anatolian par building up on the outside. A couple things happen there. It is normal to pivot, to put your hand down, but we see that right shoulder opening up towards the pads. I've been talking a lot about that points of efficiency. Driving the right shoulder down in the direction you want to go, it allows you to have much more control over the ice. Bastier doing a good job here, looking over to the side, checking for signs from his coaches, and now looking up the inside, checking to see what his competitor's doing behind him.
In the end, Bastier does get the qualifying spot. There is no further review. Atan, it's just more self-inflicted than anything else. And so Bastier will get that last spot, and he will be back out for the 1,000-meter heats in it's just over a half an hour's time. Before that, we will have the women's 500-meter preliminaries. We now head into our ice resurfacing break. The resumption of competition will be at 10:46 a.m. local time. That's in about 14 minutes from now. So chance to catch your first break of the day, stretch your legs, grab something to eat or drink, and we'll be back with you on the other side.
Proszę Państwa, jesteśmy po przekonaniu szczególnym. Za kilka minut rozpoczynamy nieliczne eliminacyjne kobiety w dystansie 500 metrów. Ladies and gentlemen, we are after the highest place in the social preliminary races. The women 500 meters distance will have 8 distance, the first and second place skaters from each race have to a maximum of 4 fastest first place skaters will qualify for the next round. Proszę Państwa,
The graphic goes back up. We get ready to return to action as the lights come back up in the Hala Olivia women's 500-meter preliminaries. 8 heats in this one. First and second place skaters from each race, and up to 4 fastest third place skaters qualify for the heats. And some interesting ones here. Kamila Selye, Lee So-yun, Lisa Eckstein, Barbara Gakova, and Svetlana Repetska. So the Hussar, a little extra ovation from the host side. There she is, Kamila Selye. But Lee So-yun, certainly anyone who comes out of that White Tigers program, results are expected.
You know, Gavin, it's actually harder to make the Korean White Tiger team than it is to, I would say, than it is to medal at the World Tour. It's a very deep program. They're grassroots. I've been to an ice rink where I've seen a pace line of skaters that took up the entire 111-meter track, and they were all, you know, little guys who could skate just as well as these World Tour athletes.
Ready.
Might you look no further than the almost complete overhaul of the men's program. Park Ji-won didn't even get to the team. They have their trials not long after the season ends, which I find interesting. And it is these two. It's Selye and Lee going off far and away, just bursting out of the gun. And of course, in the 500 meters, these are over in a hurry. There's the women's 500-meter prelims, men's 1,000-meter heats, and then we'll roll into lunch. But it's a real 1-2 battle. We'll see if Lee can size something up, coming up to 1 to go.
Selye is carrying her speed well. She's manipulating her track well. Lee is setting up here, so let's see if Selye can stay tight to the blocks.
And she's able to hang on, take the heat in the end. Lee can't quite make the move, but top 2 from each race do move on. And so in the end, not tons of need to force the issue so much, but they both look good going on. And we can look at Eckstein coming in third, setting the standard for those third fastest skaters. A 45.528, her official time.
So here we have a replay of the start, and the skaters line up just like they did in the lane position. That's pretty common. It's why lane position is so important in the 500 meter. Kamila Selye keeping her eyes on the prize as she comes around this turn here. We see that right shoulder compressing down to the thigh, even more so with Kim. And Kim is setting up on the outside here. She's changing her track to come in tight right there, but Selye does a good job shutting down the pass as she dives for the line.
And they need those times to get those better start positions later on. So Selye holding off, getting the win, moving on, and those results are confirmed. Eckstein's now the time to watch for. So of 8 heats, we could see maximum 4 fastest thirds. And yes, I'll always say penalties change all of that. Heat number 2, Ricky Doak, the East Coaster, going up against Zeynep Kumarkan, Lam Chingyan, Myungbi Jung, and Chloe Cameron.
Go to the start. Ready.
Doak, one of a number of the Canadian skaters who, after the season ended in Beijing, did beginnings of a post-season trip to Japan with Maxime Laoun, Kim Boutin, and Stephen Dubois, but she's off and away now.
This year, after the season, same group of athletes going to Egypt.
Ooh.
3 weeks.
Of course, it's going to be a longer trip. The season ends in Canada, so. But it's nice they're already planning.
They're already planning. They say Ricky Doak's significant other, Maxime Laoun, he's the planner of the group. He's not here, of course. He's out with an injury right now.
Everyone has that group who gets on things really early. And she got on it really early, getting on the throttle, pulling away, 44.45. Kumar Khan in second, Lam Chingyan in third. There is a review, but Doak, confident display there.
And again, we saw her looking over at her coach, giving a bit of a hand sign. So potentially the ice is feeling, either the ice is getting better, the athletes are just getting more comfortable. I haven't seen any, looks of disappointment or looks of shaking the head. Ricky feeling really smooth right off the front. You can see the tips on the ice. And so the little speed wobble even happens down with the fingers on the ice. That's how fast these skaters are going. Putting her hand down a little early there, that tells me she's slightly uncomfortable entering the corner. That could just be a side effect of being at top speed, but again, we are seeing some fluctuating ice conditions here in Gdansk.
In the end, no call for that review, and so the results are final. Lamb with a 45.98, and so that is a little bit slower, and so Eckstein in third from heat number 1 does have a time behind her now. Roll right into heat number 3. This has Nicola Mazur in her hometown going up against Malika Yermek, Petra Vankova, Anna Jansone, and Alyssa Pock. Gdansk also, you look at the Celliers. I know DNA Cellier, they've had Gdansk patch on their kits before.
Go to the start. Ready.
The Polish side, as we've learned, still looking for a permanent training base. They've sort of jumped around a little bit in the offseason. They did go into Turkey for a bit. They've been in Bormio. It seems just about everybody's been through Bormio at some point.
Correct. And we were just chatting with one of the parents of one of the Polish athletes, and she's saying how exhausting it can be to live out of suitcases. They typically do 3 weeks on, 1 week off, and they're constantly changing their location.
And it is Mazur really making no doubt about this one with a large gap ahead. And Yermak and Jansone are listed as a lap down. I'm not sure if that's correct, is it? Because Yermak was really gunning for second there, unless we missed someone getting lapped somewhere. I'm not sure if that timing is going to get sorted. Vankova listed as second, but she was behind Yermak, and so...
potentially an issue with the transponders there. It will get sorted. Sometimes the numbers on the screen just need a bit of an adjustment.
I know Yermak did look down. The transponders wrapped her on the ankle.
So again, off the start, everyone finishes to the first block the same way they had been lined up on the line. Mazur feeling a little more comfortable in that pivot area. So the way you know if a skater's comfortable on their pivot or not is if they're stepping through. If they set that right foot down and they hold it, that's a sign of top speed, but you see how her left foot was still coming through, so there's a comfort there to keep moving her feet. Nice dive for the line between second and third. We're still waiting to get that official third time. It's a 45.284 by Petra Vankova.
Third, and so yeah, it is Yermak in second. The 22-year-old from Astana does move on, and Vankova with a 45.284, as Catherine just said. That is the new fastest third place time. And heat number 4 has another nomad, Jana Khan, Tineke Dendulk, the Belgian Ice Bears, Kanai Rika of the Japanese Ninjas, Leia Popovikova of the Slovakian Ice Deers, and Diana Michalchuk of the Ukrainian Wildcats. There's Khan, 25 years old, originally born. She was born in Bishkek in Kyrgyzstan, but now racing and living in Kazakhstan.
Ready.
Kazakhstan has hosted stops on the old World Cup circuit. They did actually just host the first World Junior Cup, first 2 weekends. And unfortunate, Kanai goes down, I think on her own there. And that might have been that spot that you mentioned.
You can see it. When their feet start going behind them and their shoulders pitch over their toes, they've hit a soft spot.
And Khan now under pressure from Dendulk, but they are sitting top 2. But they do want those times. They do want those better start positions in the next round. And so sizing something up, Dendulk going wide, still going wide, and trying to get around. That's very tough. Will she go up the inside to finish? And I think she gets it.
I think so too. Yeah, and here we see it's always that camaraderie, and you know, truly, there's no hard feelings in that moment. The feeling is like, that was fun. We like to race. I remember one day, our coaches were late. There's a big snowstorm, whatnot. We just played around. We just practiced our strategy and tactics. It's the most fun part of this sport.
So we'll get a replay. We'll see. The review was cleared, and so often you don't see that in a 500 meters. There it is right there.
Oh, shoot. Okay, so no, it wasn't a soft spot. It was a blade contact. Again, not too much you can do.
They're side by side there,
and they're just one's going left and one's going right.
and there's only so much space out there on the ice. And unfortunate for Kanai. And, oh, I don't know. Did Khan just nip back ahead?
I think so. Let's see if the official time's been posted.
We've got it. Yana Khan by a 100th of a second takes the heat over Tinnika Dendalk. There it is. She just, initially Dendalk had it, but Khan timed it right. And Popovikova with a 46.015. I think that is our bubble time now. Yeah, with only 4 fastest third places, she is the time that would be the first to go. And heat number 5, Fan Kushing. She's done 1 or 2 of these races in her day. A Chinese lung, so often deployed in the relay, but this has long been her event. There's Anna Krylova, independent neutral athletes. Hyojin Kim has a big 1,000 meter for the Australian Racing Ruse coming up on repechage Saturday morning. She is into that semifinal, which it could be absolutely huge for her Olympic qualification hopes. Berenice Combi of the French Roosters and Diana Laura Vegi of the Hungarian Falcons. And that's where Kanai went down. And that scratches things up. And I see the fire extinguisher ready to go. So what is it? Fawn, 5-time world champion in the 500 meters? 1 or 2 in her day?
Yeah, Fan Kushing was really a big name after the 2002 era. Maybe that's when she was really coming up and has really been a leader on the ladies' side for a few cycles now.
32-year-old.
Ready.
And Combi jumps up a position into 3rd off the line, but it is Fan Krylova, Combi 1 through 3 right now.
So something Fawn does really well, check her right arm swing. Now she's put it on her back, but there is a way to time your arm swing with your push, and the more powerful you use that arm swing, the better. But she's getting herself into a little bit of trouble here. Her power can't save her from some sneaky attacks coming from behind.
Krylova, oh, she goes into the back there of Combi. Krylova was the first to move, and that cost a lot of speed for Fawn. That allowed Combi to sneak up, and then Fawn and Combi have a coming together. That, of course, will be reviewed. And if there is a penalty, that could mean an advancement, and we see those 3rd place time disappear. But Krylova with a move up the inside. I believe it was the inside. She made the move anyway to get the lead on Fawn, and she took that to the line.
And we'll get a look at that replay and just confirm what all we saw. And we see this a lot, Gavin, where 2 or 3 things happen all at once, and you really need to see that replay to kind of dissect all the things that the referees might be considering back in the video review room. So Fan Kushing taking off here, we see that arm swing. So as she keeps her elbow bent and she swings her arm from her shoulder, that's how she improves her power with her arm swing. She uses that power to come across the ice. She's being defensive there, but she does back off. She does give way.
And then that allows Combi to go up the inside. That's the aftermath.
Yes, and there's that spinning like a top. There's always a block involved, and some hands go flying.
And so it is also possible shared responsibility. It's what we come up as possible Fawn, possible Combi, and when it's the 2 of them, it's the shared responsibility is what's also a possible option. So here it is.
She's up the inside. Fawn does not have her shoulders even. She doesn't appear to be forcing the contact other than there's a bit of a collision, one going in, one going out. And that's an odd situation because what I see Fawn doing there with her hands is like, oh, she can see her coming. Combi looking to be gingerly walking on that right foot.
That's unfortunate.
And sometimes when we see that spinning like a top, the most severe injury, maybe, am I right in saying that? A very severe injury in the sport is called a spiral fracture. When you get your toe in and your body twists, but your lower leg stays kind of planted with your blade.
Final decision, no penalty for share responsibility between number 46 from China and number 64 from France.
And so it is shared responsibility. As you noted, one skate was coming out, one was going in as they both headed for the corner.
That's right, and I do want to be clear with Combi here. Like, you can't walk if it's that serious of an injury. Okay, so one's coming in, one's coming out. They just plain collide. There's the toe going in as she falls. That little twist is what can be scary for athletes. It's common to have injuries in the ankles and the lower legs in situations like that. Hopefully it's just a quick little twist that her physio can tape right up.
She was putting weight on it, so she was just getting a little support. So
Correct.
Fingers crossed for her, because there would be a repechage in that still to come. And so Vegi ends up in second with the automatic qualifying spot, and Fawn with a 45.859. So that moved her ahead of Popovikova in that third place battle.
You see the 7 lines there. Those are the 7 different track positions. So what happens is that there are dots painted into the ice. The blocks go on to the dots. And then based on what track you're on, the start line moves only in the 15 and the 5. In the 1,000, the start and finish line are the same. In the 15 and the 5, there's an extra half lap. So the start position does change based on where the track or the blocks are, what track they've been set on.
Did you have a preferred start line back in the day, or does it all feel the same?
In the 5 and 15, it's all the same. In the 1,000, because the start line is fixed, I liked when the blocks were closest to me because I had a poor start. So the longer I had to get to that first block, my disadvantage, but someone with a fast start likes when the blocks are all the way on the far end because that gives them a chance to shine.
So it all makes sense now why you like to say it's not how you start, how you
Go
finish.
to the start.
That's right. I was a 1,500 3K skater. I liked those endurance or those high lactate events.
Ready.
Annabelle Green, Chloe Olivier, Tamara Tokarova, Phoebe Stenz, and Myrthe Mikkelsen. And Green always so good on the start.
Absolutely. She's got really fast feet, which is helpful for a sprinter. You see her stepping through the apex block there. That shows me she's got some comfort. Nailing the timing on that next corner here. She's going to hold one of those longer pivots. That means she's all the way up to speed.
It is a real battle for third. It's Green space, Olivier space, and Mikkelsen now just has open space as Stenz goes down on her own. So unfortunate for her, because that was a good battle for third. And at the bell, it is Annabelle Green who will take this one around ahead of Olivier. And then a good result for Myrthe Mikkelsen, coming in third, her World Tour debut weekend, but a 46.76 is her time. That will not be enough to have one of those third place times, but unfortunate for Tokarova and Stenz because it's a nice battle shaping up for third there.
So on the replay here, we're seeing a clean start, and there's position number 4 actually overtaking position number 3, and that's less common, but it's a sign of a good, fast, twitchy sprinting athlete. Annabelle Green quickly separating herself from the pack. Again, we're seeing the right shoulder down. She's keeping both shoulders parallel to the ice, which is much harder than it sounds. We've got can't tell if that was a collision or blades with this Swiss skater in the back.
I always like the clear lenses, of course, on the glass, so you can see where the skater's looking at, and you get those on those slow motion angles. Really cool to see.
Absolutely, and I remember I had a coach who always wanted me to wear clear glasses or the yellow tinted glasses so that I could make eye contact, which really can be quite helpful when your coach is giving you signs throughout the race.
So Green moving on. Good start, taking that all the way to the finish line, and Olivier joining her. Two more heats still to come. Another French rooster, Aurélie Levesque, a Grenoble native, Barbara Samogi, Tanuche Chataison, Betty Muska, and Paulina Klevstuen. That region of France, sort of the southeast corner, the next Olympic hosts after 2026, and I'll bring it up again. Short track, 2030, I believe, will be in Nice, which, yeah. Talking about how much we enjoy the travel experience of everything, that would be a top destination for sure on the French Riviera.
Absolutely. Well, and what's really nice for these athletes is that even though they're here as professional athletes, so 90% of their time is focused on training, but 10% of the time, their coaches will typically plan a day to go out into the city or to see one of the sites. And so just, again, I remember my dad put me in this sport specifically so I would have the opportunity to travel. It was never to win an Olympic medal. It was always to get international experiences that we wouldn't have had otherwise. And every athlete here is getting to share that with each other.
If you follow them on social media, there's always the outside, the event pictures that they post.
Ready.
And so good start by Chataison. We have seen her before. I think it was in the European stops last year where she really showed flashes of some pace and a good start off the line, and we'll see if maybe a bit more comfortable in a sprint race in Europe as opposed to North America. She's right behind Levesque right now, but here comes Samogi up the inside.
Chataison missing a bit of an opportunity to defend there, and now she's going to have to rebuild her speed, and she only has one lap to finish that counterattack.
And Samogi under a bit of pressure as she tries to eye Levesque. It's going to be Levesque taking this one start to finish. Samogi second, Chataison third, 45.59, and that would actually move her ahead of Fawn Cushing. They will update that time. Usually they update it down. So Fawn had a 45.859. And Chataison unofficially 45. There you go, official 45.581. And so she could be sitting in one of those advancement spots. Good start for her though.
Yeah, great start. Here we see on the replay. This is where Samogi comes up. Oh, I've lost my start list. Well, anyway, I'll just stay focused on the pictures on the screen here, folks. So Chataison missing a couple crossovers going into that corner, which is going to damage her speed, her ability to build speed. Fortunately, in that third place position, she still gets pulled to a faster time. And yes, that was Samogi.
And there is Levesque all the while. We didn't mention her, but she was busy off in front out of position one, taking the victory. Moving on. One more heat still to come as you do see the results. And so Chataison sitting on the bubble. We'll see what is left after this. We move into the men's 1,000-meter heats, and that wraps up the morning session here in Gdansk. There you go, heat number 8. Zofia Konya really just saw relay action yesterday. Elizaveta Sidorko, Katarina Budic, and Holly Hoyland.
Ready.
And it is out of position one. Zofia Konya, her and Sidorko very evenly matched, of course, in that serpentine system, ranked 34 and 36. But Budic making some noise there in third. And Hoyland now closing up in fourth, and so it really is a battle 1 through 4. Sidorko around the outside. Buric trying to go the inside, and it's a nice move by Buric to get up, but Sidorko battling back. And now she's just stuck on the outside, and Konya and Buric looking like they will go 1-2. Sidorko trying to get up to third, and she might have taken it. We'll see if the time gets updated, but a good win for Konya, but that was a fun heat.
Yes, it's always fun to see when athletes kind of battle back and forth for that position.
And the third place time may be enough to move on. Good race by Buric to get up into second, making that move. The native of Zagreb.
So a strong start here. Everyone tends to line up just a little bit. Sidorko doing her... Oh, hold on here. We've got the official result.
Yep.
We're seeing on your screen, Konya staying in first. A good defensive move there, stepping out to continue building her speed. Sidorko just getting stuck on the outside. Again, this ice it's not gliding. So if you're going to be on the outside, you have to take more crossovers than the people on the inside. You cannot hope to overtake an inside skater without generating more speed, more power than that.
And so Hoyland hung on in third. We did get the final results. Konya taking it, Buric in second, and Hoyland with a 45.494 does get a third place time. So it's Hoyland, Chataisong, Petra Vankova, and Lisa Eckstein getting the 4 fastest third place times.
And Fan Kishin not getting a fastest third time, which is quite notable. She was involved in that scuffle. She definitely would be considered a favorite to move on to the next round, but based on that scuffle, not getting a chance here in Gdansk.
Can I say it? That's short track?
Thank you. Thanks. You said it this time.
Yes.
Perfect.
Got to take my chances when I can. And now,
Go to the start.
heats in the 1,000 meters.
Ready.
How about that for a start list? William Dongenew, Brendan Corey, Reynes Berzins, Lucas Koo, and Lucas McDonald. 8 heats in all, top 2 moving on, and possibly 2 fastest third place skaters. And this Dongenew on the front. Instantly recognizable crystal globe helmet, and he is already on course to defend that title.
Doing lots of shoulder checks as he goes around, and then doing what's called a deep entry. So you see there's lots of space between him and the first couple of blocks. So he's stepping out wide of any bad ice, hugging the blocks at the apex, and then taking a neutral track coming out. Now that's the risk, that's the danger, is if you follow that deep track pattern, you leave the door open. Dongenew planning a counterattack now, still carrying speed on the outside.
And Corey slotting in behind him, perhaps trying to follow in his wake there. Dongenew looks so easy around the outside, around Berzins.
So something I enjoy about watching William Dongenew skate is that he's a strategist. He doesn't just go out there and skate fast. He's constantly re-evaluating his strategy and making changes based on each individual situation. Brendan Corey doing a big move up the inside there, causing a touch of contact. We'll have to see if that gets reviewed.
It's interesting because it looked like he was through by the time Berzins went down, but Dongenew, you're talking about he has a strategist. It also helps that you do skate fast. And he did there in the end.
Skating fast helps. Yes, that's part of it.
And so Corey over the line second. We will see what that review is. Because it appeared like he might have been through, but and it is Berzins getting looked at.
So Berzins on the inside of your screen here. Oh, and then he tries to do a sneaky move, and it works. He had plenty of space, plenty of room. That is a textbook late inside pass. Dongenew building speed on the outside, taking that extra crossover I just talked about at the last ladies race. If you're going to complete the move on the outside, you have to generate more speed than the skater on the inside. Brendan Corey, we can't tell if his shoulders are even. We can't tell if it's the Latvian star coming in to create contact, or if Brendan did not quite have finished the pass.
They are also looking at no calling that, and so just a racing incident.
We see that camaraderie in the sport again. Lucas Koo and William Dongenew trading a little high five there.
And there it is. It was official result. Corey and Dongenew moving on. Koo will put up that third place time with a 1:27.347. And so he hung in not far behind Brendan Corey, did Lucas Koo. And so we'll see how that time stands up, especially as we inch closer towards the break and that ice gets a little more wear and tear into it.
So we've had 8 rounds of ladies 500 meters, and we're going into 8 rounds of men's 1,000 meters, all on the same ice. Again, we're recycling tracks here. You see your track stewards here on the side of your screen squeegeeing. That takes it's supposed to stamp down the ruts a little bit and remove any slush that's built up, and then water goes down to mend the track for next time.
And are you kidding me? Heat number 2 again, Pietro Siegel. Oh no, I'm thinking of Im Jong-un, pardon me. It's Shin Dong-min. And so first when I saw the White Tigers logo, I went, no. And sure enough, it's not Siegel and Im again, because they've had so many heats against each other. But yeah, it's Shin Dong-min who is on the White Tigers in this heat.
And this is a strong heat. I mean, here's 5 skaters, and we're only taking 2+2. So I would expect there to be a little bit more jockeying for position than you might normally see, just because I kind of know who the favorites are in this race, but there are enough skaters ranked very close together that it'll be a bit of a fight.
Pietro Siegel, picking up his first senior win in Montreal in this distance in week number 1. There's also, as I mentioned, Shin Dong-min, Félix Pigeon, Andrew Hio, and Etienne Bastier.
Go to the start. Ready.
Siegel, always such a smooth operator, getting to the front.
And I chatted with him the other day after one of his practice sessions, and he shared with me not only was his dad a world all-around champion in the sport of long track, he was also his coach, coached him all the way until the age of 20, until he officially moved on to the Italian national team. But he still shares all his workouts and all of his information with his dad. He's been such a helpful resource for him over the years. Shin making a powerful move out the front. Pietro not defending, which says to me he's happy to sit in second and conserve some energy for a big pass later in the race.
And of course, Ariana, a sister, competing for Italy at the World Championships in Beijing. His mother sat near us for most of the competition, and when he came up after getting his medal that he won, he and Elisa Confortola, people just descended upon Siegel. They love their autographs in China, and so he was just sitting there signing autographs, and all he wanted to do, I'm sure, was come up and visit his mom. But it was quite funny, and for the longest time, Confortola was just kind of standing there until finally other people recognized her, and she did sign a few autographs as well. But it was a fun moment. But he's under pressure now. Pigeon and Hio. Siegel really going defensive as Shin gets to put in a gap, and Pigeon pushing again, but now it looks like Shin will go. Siegel will make it close, and Pigeon up for third.
Yes, definitely some fighting, some jockeying for position there. Shin and Siegel clearly the favorites, kind of able to skate away safely in that race. Félix Pigeon coming in with an official 127.02. So that's our new fastest second time, but there are 6 races to go. Shin on the outside here, easily overtaking, just tucking up into first. And so when I say that word tucking, sometimes when you pass, you try to take off and pull a gap. Sometimes when you pass, you try to tuck in, and you just tuck into the race, tuck into the pack, kind of right where you were, as opposed to really trying to shake up the strategy of the race. Now we're seeing those arms come off the back. Again, it's using the arm swing to increase a little speed, a little power. It's kind of like when you're running. If you swing your arms faster, you can actually encourage faster foot speed. Similar here on the ice, a nice big stretch for the line, but it doesn't change the outcome of the race.
So the top 2 skaters under 127, just noting the world record, Hwang Dae-han, 120.875. That was set in Salt Lake, and as Catherine pointed out yesterday, we're not expecting any world records broken this weekend. Heat number 3. Enter Roberts Kreuzbergs, Lucas Speckenhauser, Brandon Kim, Adil Galiakhmetov, and Daniil Abog. And so this is a heat, and any one of these guys we could see in a quarter, a semi, and you love to see the depth of this sport. But Speckenhauser, always one tough to beat, as well as Kreuzbergs. They are out of positions 2 and 1,
Go to the
respectively.
start. Ready.
Staying in the same position as their start line. Not a crazy fast start, but Roberts Kreuzbergs, he does like to lead. He's strong in the front. And something unique that he does is he actually does turn in with his shoulders a little more than is typical. I imagine that helps him keep his right shoulder down, like we've talked is good technique, but it also can create a tiny little twist in the hips, makes him more susceptible to that spinning sensation. But he's one of the few athletes who can control it.
Kreuzbergs back on the podium last season after really missing out the year before, and really showing he's back at his very best. And Kim up the inside, he takes out Speckenhauser with him.
Just tried to catch a ride with Kreuzbergs and it didn't work.
And so that, of course, will get a review. Kreuzbergs, the Latvian Golden Star, and Adil Galiakhmatov and Daniel Abog, who had to do the preliminary races, now pressing.
Abog having a really greatly timed pass in his last round. Let's see if he can repeat some magic here with 1 lap to go.
And Kreuzbergs, we know he's so tough to pass. Looks like the challenges he will fend off, and he will take it. And Galiakhmatov loving it in second. Good emotion from him. So you know he's, you know, it's. Are you happy with the race? It's nice when they make it easy for us.
Yes, absolutely, and especially in these earlier rounds, the goal is to move forward. The goal is not to have the race of your life. The goal is to make it to the finals, or at least as far as you're capable of. Galiakhmatov showing us he's pretty happy with that.
And so it's, correct me if I'm wrong, 4 quarterfinals. There's the moment.
Yeah. It is being considered possible USA against Italy with a potential advancement. So Italy's coming in, USA holding their track, but it is someone's job to give way in that instance. And again, officials are looking at Team USA for that penalty. Nothing official yet.
And so, yeah, you look at, he was ahead, but was it too late? You're just diving in there and hoping, yeah, see, I'm in front. No, it's too late situation.
Well, correct. And we'd have to see the half lap leading up to the incident, but there was some jockeying for position there. And so oftentimes it feels like when everyone's moving, an opening that's there in one instant is not there in the next. And so Brandon trying to react to one moment, and then the situation changing so quickly, there's not much time. And to be honest with you, once you've made up your mind, the best thing to do is to commit to it. Again, a little camaraderie there, even in an instance. Let's go see the official result.
Final decision, penalty, number 23 from USA, advancement, number 17 from Italy.
There you go. So Brandon Kim penalized. Luca Speckenhauser is advanced. So joining Kreuzbergs and Galiakhmatov. And so here it is. Failure to give way is the ruling.
Yep, so he gets up even, but he gets up even so late and then causes the contact that it's just not possible to salvage after that.
So there you go. And so Galiakhmatov, correct me if I'm wrong, it's 4 quarterfinal heats with 6 in each. So just doing the math, that's 24 positions anyway. So he's celebrating because, you know, you get that good quota jump when you're into the quarterfinals, is the point that I'm trying to make.
Yeah, you lost me on math.
Yes.
But again, these results are important. We're choosing country spots for the Olympics at this competition, along with the other 3 World Tour stops.
And heat number 4 has a World Tour winner, Felix Roussel, from last season in Beijing. Alongside him, Huang Daihan, the world record holder.
Go to the start. Ready.
And then there's Ivan Posashkov, Denis Ors, and Miyata Shogo, the last 2 having done the preliminary round. And Roussel jumps to the front. He won that in Beijing, the gold medal. You and I were calling that when Dongenu and Park Ji-won, the Crystal Globe battle, went toe-to-toe, and they both sort of went into each other, and Roussel was the one who jumped into the lead and took victory.
That's right, and a year ago, Roussel was known more of as a racer and not so much as a trainer, and this year he shared with me that he's really been tightening up his nutrition, adding some protein, adding some supplements, and really taking care of his sleep. He says, I don't stay up late on the weekends anymore. I keep my sleep schedule consistent. The improved nutrition and recovery has made him strong in training and in races as we see him move up into second.
2 big, quick strides to jump up into second, and now Miata trying to make a move from the outside. And he does through the inside there to get up into fourth, but it's Huang, Roussel, Ors right now, 1, 2, and 3.
Here comes Miata on the outside, building speed. Ors preparing to defend.
And Miata keeping it going on the outside. He's not around yet. Now he is. Now he goes for second. Great move by Miata Shogo, the ninja, trying to hang on. I think he might even take the heat, and he does.
That was elite racing. I'll tell you what, the pressure that you're feeling when there's only a quarter of a lap left in a race, to perform under that pressure and succeed, holy cow.
And yeah, he'll take it. It's a photo for second, but he left it very, very late.
Just to the finish. So Felix Roussel looking on the inside and then gets overtaken by Huang Daihan on the outside. Now he's got a little work to do to close that gap. Still checking behind him. Up the inside.
That's Pasashkov.
Thank you. Comes Pasashkov. Lots of moving up and down. Felix Roussel doing that double pump on the right skate like we've seen before. In this instance, again, strategic, trying to squeeze up into second. He is a tall athlete, so to fit in that small little spot is impressive. Miata Shogo coming around the outside, cross. Remember, you need to take more steps than your competitors. An excellent dive for the line, and officially Felix Roussel finishing in third without a qualifying time.
He is not. It is currently still Felix Pigeon with a 1:27.006. And so Roussel will have to go through the repechage if he wants to get into the quarterfinals. And there you go. There are the results up on your board. Big win for Miata, just leaving it late, making that late surge to get around the outside. And he's into the quarters. Heat number 5 has Jens van het Wout, Quentin Vercock, Clayton De Clemente, Wonjun Moon, and Theo Collins. I'll harp on this at length, but it's so cool that we're in a heat, and it's tough to handicap. It's a lot of even skaters here.
That's why racing is so much fun.
Go
Actually,
to
the
the start.
best races are when everyone is evenly matched and you don't know who's going to win.
Ready.
And Van het Wout, well documented. Tough times in Montreal where he crashed a few times and then he was sick. As he tries to get his Crystal Globe campaign back on track. It finishes on home ice in Dordrecht, and he really succeeded last year in Tilburg. Tilburg, of course, also hosting the European Championships in January.
Vercock defending that third place position against Clayton De Clemente. We saw a strong move by Wonjun Moon up to front. Jens van het Wout doing what we like to see, leaving a little bit of space so that when he accelerates into a pass rather than having to step out in order to accelerate into a pass.
Showing how it's done right there, getting to the lead, and he opens it up a little bit as Vercock closes in on Moon. But he's running out of time as Van het Wout really adds to the tempo.
Yes, and we are seeing a progressive lead here. Every lap a little faster. It's very hard to make a power move, but here comes Clayton De Clemente up the inside, a clean pass. Let's see if he can do it again. Wonjun Moon appearing to slow up slightly.
It's really queuing up behind Moon right now. 3 going into the corner. De Clemente can't hold it, but they all stay on their skates, but that benefits Moon as he crosses in second. Van het Wout takes it going away. And then just looks like 3 guys going into the corner, but nobody could find the space to pull through. And in the end, that benefited Moon as De Clemente congratulates him. Nothing getting reviewed there officially.
That's right, and great to see a smile on De Clemente's face. That was a fast time. That was the first 126 that we've seen today. So currently he does have the fastest third place. Wang Junmoon coming around the outside now, tucking into first. Jens Van at Twout building speed on the outside. For Kok staying right in the middle of your screen, choosing a more defensive track. Tips sliding on the ice, and that's a cut-proof glove. Skaters have to wear white cut-proof gloves. So this is a defensive track. Moon hooks tight in here. Clayton could have finished it if Moon hadn't, it's called a pinch, not a push. You can pinch an athlete without causing contact. It's not enough to knock them off their skates, but it's enough to make them decelerate and be unable to finish the pass.
So De Clemente now has that one third place time. 126.767 officially, so he has 3 more heats to wait for. Of course, if there is one advancement, then he will not be moving on, but 3 to go, and there's the world champion now, Steven Dubois, Stan de Smet, Thunborg, Lin Xiaojun, and Watanabe Keita.
Go to the start.
And if there is a group of athletes that can challenge that 126 fastest second, this would be it.
Ready.
We'll see how much enthusiasm there is to go for time, and that might be why Thunborg goes to the front knowing he's got elite company around him.
Absolutely. You can expect a lot of movement in this race. And so if I'm in this race, my goal is to be up front and then slow it down, because I don't want to pull a pace for anybody. I want to encourage movement in the pack. Movement is often what tires skaters out. It creates that variable speed or that high-intensity interval training effect inside of a race.
And now it is Watanabe getting to the front. Lin in third, Dubois fourth, and de Smet just riding tail gun at the moment.
Lin, Dubois, and de Smet playing it safe, conserving energy here. There's going to be a big move, and I bet they all try to make it at once.
The powder is dry for the moment, but with those guys at the back, it is going to be ignited in short order.
Lin making space between himself and Thunborg. A pass is coming. Just wait.
And we'll see if Dubois follows and de Smet follows there. Here goes Lin. And now that gap is closed right up, though.
Lin building on the outside. Nothing Thunborg can do. Steven Dubois coming with.
And Dubois and Lin's forced way out wide. Watanabe holding them off for now. Everybody into the corner. Oh my! It is Dubois emerging in the lead. Lin in second, Watanabe in third. That's going to get another look, but we knew it was coming. We just didn't know how, and that was fun racing.
That's fun racing. You know, often I say it with a negative connotation, but here with a positive, that's short track. Man, it's fun to see how everybody goes toe-to-toe, 3 wide in the corner on the last lap. These athletes all giving their best. We are looking at a possible review. They are reviewing possibly Belgium against Netherlands. Let's take a look here at our replay.
That really would not affect the top 2, I believe, Boer and de Smet. And I think that might be what's getting looked at there. Not sure, but de Smet might have been trying to join that train moving up, and he and Boer would have had a bit of a coming together. Let's see if that's it.
That's but a little bump there between Watanabe.
Look how wide
and
Lin goes, and then he still comes around.
Well, and we talk about how that's the choice. You can choose to create the contact and see if you're the lucky one, or you can give up your track, take a step out wide, rebuild. In that moment, from experience, it's terrifying. It's like, you want me to give up my track? But that's the kind of decisions these skaters are having to make in split seconds under a highly competitive environment. And oftentimes the athlete that takes that step back, gives more space, is able to create more speed and counterattack more strongly. We're seeing an arm coming out from Watanabe trying to kind of protect himself. Really big push out wide with Lin. Watch how he crosses through it. Even as he's losing his speed, he's already moving his feet. Hands are coming down. Now, all
That's
skaters together, and they, okay, I see, there's
the
the
possible
review.
de Smet illegal late pass.
Interesting. And that's why I think they're coming, they look so jumbled there, is because one pass is happening on the outside, one pass is happening on the inside. Thunborg getting kind of pinched in the middle.
Yeah, this one is it's a bit of a review right now anyway.
That's right. Head coach Maggie there, coming over from the Hungarian team, I think 2 Olympic cycles ago, bringing the Liu brothers with her.
And also Watanabe is being looked at on Lynn. You pointed that out as well. And so everybody is almost under review here, except I think Stephen Dubois.
And yeah, that's, and a possible advancement based on
so
what
that
decisions
that
are
was
made.
near the front where Watanabe, you mentioned him being defensive on Lynn, and so we'll see if
Japanese coach is looking a little stressed here as they await the final call. And you see there are 2 different sets of laces. That's common. That's normal. Everyone does that. And the reason being, by separating your laces into 2 different positions on the skate, you can create more ankle mobility within the boot. That's a tight boot made exactly to the shape of his foot. If you use one lace all the way up, it tends to limit the mobility of the knee pressing forward over the toes. By splitting those laces into 2, you can create more mobility. And actually, Gavin, pushing your knees over your toes is the easiest way to accelerate quickly. It pitches your body weight forward. It puts you on that part of your blade. Stan Desmet showing a little stress as he waits for that final call. But pushing your knee forward puts your weight forward on your blade. Remember, these blades are bent to turn left. They also have what's called a rocker. It's a compound rocker, so the front of the blade is rounder than the back of the blade. Pushing your knee forward puts you on a spot of the blade that's easy to accelerate. Pulling your knees back more over the ankle puts you on the flat part of your blade, and that's the part that you glide with. So these tiny little technical things, let's go down to the track and hear the result.
Final decision, penalty, skater 58 from Japan, and we have another one, penalty 15 from Belgium.
Wow.
And so it is Desmet for the late pass. And this is that's Watanabe right there, inside to out. That's really what forced Lynn way out wide there.
Correct. And then that also clears the path for Stephen Dubois to move up. And now we have the illegal inside pass. We've seen times when that pass works, but it's just as often that pass doesn't work.
And so Lynn officially crosses the line in second. And so there is no advancement, just the 2 penalties. And I was just going to provide a snarky remark. Here I am thinking they have 2 different colored laces, so they remembered which skate is right, which skate is left. But it's so much more technical than that.
Probably a lace broke one day, and the kid sitting next to him had a different color. Hey, man, can I borrow those? That's usually how that works.
Ready.
2 more to go before the end of the session. You saw the start lists: Liu Xiaoang, Im Jong-un, Gleb Ivchenko, Furkan Akar, and Oleg Hyundai. Clayton DiClemente still on the bubble. The USA Eagle with a 126.767 in 3rd place, and this one is a quick start.
Everybody wants to be in that qualifying position as fast as possible. And typically 1,000 meter gets broken into 3. Your first 3 laps, everyone's fighting for position. Your second 3 laps is called settling in. You take a moment, check your breath, reevaluate your plan. And then the last 3 laps are when you see that final sprint and the most jockeying for position.
And it's Hyundai at the front, but we've seen the young man Im Jong-un quickly turn it around, and he is doing that right now to the lead.
A really nice pass and a veteran move to be able to go 2 or 3 skaters wide and still keep moving your feet. Liu Xiaoang coming up with him into second. Xiaoang skating fantastic this season, better than we've seen him skate in years. I asked him, hey, what have you changed? He said, more training. There's a fall and another.
But a car went into Hyundai. Hyundai went down, and then on the straightaway, it's a car going down. So all the while, Gleb Ivchenko now can skate up into 3rd. And what does he have left? Is he going to try to make a late move? It is Im, it is Liu, and Ivchenko reaches, but in vain. But we're going to get more reviews as we wind things up here in the 1,000 meter heats for men.
That's right. We'll have to wait and see that. Now, I'm thinking of Clayton De Clemente, who is right on that bubble. If there's an advancement, they won't take his time. But if there is not, then he's qualified through. That would be a big deal for the U.S. men's
There would be
team.
one more heat, though.
Oh, yes, you're right. You're right. Sorry, one more heat. I'm just getting excited, folks. Im moving up to the front. He makes it look easy. Xiaoang coming along with him. And then up the inside is the Anatolian Par, and I can't quite tell if there's contact with Oleg Hyundai or if it's something with the skates, but then around the very next turn.
Oh, he hits blades with Ivchenko there, and he didn't know anything about it. Ivchenko was behind him, and just the front of Ivchenko's blade hit the back of a car's.
Unfortunately common in the sport. It's one of those things where if you're too careful, you miss opportunities. But if you're aggressive and you go for your opportunities, like we're talking about, to pay attention to every inch of the blade underneath your feet. Imagine if your feet were 18 inches long. That's kind of a lot that you have to be aware of. So anyway, it's one of those tiny little details that can't always be controlled when you're under high pressure, high speed, and high intensity.
Final decision, penalty number 31 from 30th.
And so it is a car penalized for that incident in the corner with Hyundai, and here we'll get a look at it.
So they've decided inside skater failure to give way. Hyundai not in qualifying position there, so it's not an advancement. The shoulders get even, but they get even so late in the turn that it is not considered a clean pass.
So there you go. As Catherine mentioned, no advancement, and so the wait continues and is almost over for Clayton De Clemente with one heat still to go. Im and Liu go through. Heat number 8. And there you go. Sun Long, Niall Tracy, Hayashi Kosei, Michał Niewinski, and Martin Kolens.
Martin Kolens coming off of a fall a little earlier in the day, but man, was he skating good going into that fall. Something I really like about Kolens is, much like Danjanu, he's very long and lean, and that makes it hard for these taller athletes to fit into small spaces. So extra athleticism is required to perform at this level with this body type.
4 guys in this heat have medals on World Tour. Sun in Montreal alone picked up one in the 15 and the 5. Niall Tracy has one in the 1,000 from Beijing last year. Hayashi Kosei from a 1,500 in Milan, and Michał Niewinski had 2 1,000-meter medals last season. And this is a heat. Always amazing.
Always.
Go to the start. Ready.
We'll see if Tracy opts to go to the front. That's often settling into his office, but he chooses to let Sun go this time.
It does not look like they're going to go for time unless someone moves up and pushes the pace now. But I'll be honest, going for time is not a smart move right now. There are so many high-quality athletes. Everyone is going to have the legs to do a time. This race is going to come down to strategy and tactics.
And it's on tired ice right now. The lunch break comes, and Tracy now outside to in. Now he hits the front.
Smooth move up to the front, well passed. Kolens closing that gap back up. Now remember, it's a sign of a mature skater to leave a little space. Again, it's counterintuitive, but it allows room to fluctuate the pace and the track. A nice move.
Hayashi
by
up the inside. It's
Hayashi.
almost do the hand thing like I'm through. Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Made it. Sun Long setting up some track patterns here. So watch how he stays on the outside hip of Niall Tracy. That allows him to go tight on the inside. Niall Tracy defends that pass, and then that opens a spot.
Hayashi jumps through. Niewinski's down. So Sun Long initially lost speed. Hayashi jumped up, but then couldn't hold it. And then Niewinski just got caught up there. Tracy defending very, very well. I just see Coach Richard Schubert waving him on to the finish. Good skate by Niall Tracy. Can he hang on? He does.
Wow.
But he crossed over as well. And so Hayashi and Sun went down. Tracy, the fatigue settling in, almost off balance and just almost diagonally almost over the line.
That's right. And then Kosei getting pinched in between Long and Tracy. So he doesn't, we'll watch the video. I did not see Hayashi Kosei get a hawk in at the line. He was only able to go across on 2 feet. Here's that move up to front by Niall Tracy, pulling a bit of a gap on Collins. Now, if I'm skating, I don't want to close that gap again right away. I want to leave a little space, but now we're moving on. We see a bit of back and forth between Kosei and Sun
Nivinsky
Long.
going down.
Oh, he's just trying to move up the inside, gets his weight too far forward on his toes. Kosei sneaking in there, but no crossover, so Sun Long can continue to cross over, move up the inside. Kosei does not get to kick out. I do not know if that will be considered impeding, or it looks like they're considering
Watch that
possible
arm.
China on Japan.
And just watching that arm from Sun coming out of the corner, but Tracy in the end, he was on guard for so long, and he just knew they were coming, and he just holds them off. But oof, watch the blades there.
And I'm concerned. That's how you pull a muscle under situations like that when you can't control it. I'm sure he's okay. He got up, he skated off the ice, but that is a dangerous situation for athletes to be in.
And it is a possible arm block being looked at.
Yes, and so here's where it gets tricky. I hope we get, we'll see a little replay here action maybe. But
see obviously what they're looking at the line there.
So what happens with that arm block sometimes is, remember, it's normal and often necessary to put your hand down on the ice when you're in the pivot. And then if there's any sort of instability entering or exiting the corner, putting a hand on the ice will often restabilize an athlete. Now, then it becomes a question, is that athlete restabilizing or are they reaching? Is that athlete falling or are they pushing? Is that athlete swinging the arm or are they creating more space?
See, limping a bit, I was wondering, because you're worried about the ankles there, but we do have a ruling. They have also been looking at possible shared responsibility, but to the ice we go.
Final decision, no penalty for shared responsibility between number 9 from China and number 24 from Japan.
And so in the end, just two guys just desperately reaching for the line, essentially, is the ruling. Here it is. So Hayashi almost loses some balance too. And
that's right. So Hayashi's finishing his pivot at the same time Sun Long's coming up the inside. Again, I don't see a push or a grab. I see two athletes at their max trying their best to get that skate across the line first.
So good result for Niall Tracy directly into the quarters. Sun Long did get the blade over first. I don't know if we even mentioned that, but he got up for second. Hayashi will have to go through the repechage, but he's one who's been skating well this weekend. And so that repechage, the 1,000 meters for men, will be on Sunday. And now we head into the lunch break as you see the qualifiers who will go directly. Of course, the benefit of going directly, you don't have to do those extra races, the repechage, quarter, and semi. And as you see, and Clayton DiClemente does hang on for the lone third place spot.
That's a big deal for Team USA.
Big chance. And you see the benefits of being in that fast heat. We now roll into our lunch break. The slate is up on the screen. 1:05 local time, and that is about an hour and 17 minutes from now, and we'll pick it up, as you can see, with the women's 1,500 meter quarterfinals. And so until this afternoon, goodbye.